Well, hello friends, welcome back to the cabin. It's actually a beautiful week here in East Tennessee. It's supposed to get up to about 63 today. That's one of the cooler days that we've had, but it's supposed to get up into the 70s and 80s towards the end of the week, and looks like a good week next week. Anyway, we've been working on the third section of our new timber frame workshop, and I was putting the rafters up just like I've done pretty much all of the buildings, and I've had some comments, so I thought I would kind of go over that with you all, the reason I do, or my logic for building the rafters the way that I do them. Okay, so normally what I do is I just let mine overlap and I cut them off at the angle of the roof. So in this instance I've got about 16 inches of overlap. It does taper down. So what I've decided to do in my structures is I will put a 3/8 inch timber screw right here. It's only 3.5 inches. I put one here and I put one here. Then I drive a wooden peg, which is a 5/8 inch peg, about right here on each side. So I've actually got this locked in from being able to move really in any direction laterally or vertically, because I have been putting these hurricane straps, or just a piece of metal. These are 98 cents a piece, and I found that these work just as well as any of the other straps, and these cost less money. Anyway, what I will do is I will bend it, and then I will be able to put some screws in here and then screws down into the top plate on the wall, on the outside wall. And like I said, I use this as a hurricane strap. And so this basically ties everything in from the wall around the top, lapping over and down, almost like creating a strap over the center beam up top, which is right here, right? So this can't go up, it'd have to pull the walls with it, right? It can't go lateral because of all of the pins. So I think it makes the roof a whole lot stronger and a lot sturdier than it does with just regular conventional framing. Now, do I have to do all this? No, I don't, because I've already got these toe nailed with the nails from the nail gun. But I went back and I added all of these things to that just to make the build a lot more secure. Now, like I said, that's the way that I do mine. Do you have to do yours this way? Absolutely not. It's a little bit extra expense. I've got 14 on each side, so it cost me pretty much about $28 to get these. I also got some paint. I'm going to spray paint them black so that they kind of don't stand out too bad if somebody happens to see them. And then I got an extra box of like 1.25 inch screws that I'm going to run in there. But like I say, I've seen a lot of trees, especially right here in this area where this actual workshop is sitting. We got I don't know, some sort of a funnel type wind that came through here several times over the past few years and has blown trees down. So with all of that going, then I've seen a lot of metal come off of buildings during the high winds. So if I can avoid it, that is the reason that I'm going to the extra precautions or extra lengths to try to secure the roof as good as possible. Because, you know, this sawmill will be open, so the wind will be able to get up underneath here, and it will have a lifting effect. The rest of the building, you know, is a little bit different. The only effect it would have would be on the ends of the roof and underneath the eaves to be able, in the metal, to be able to pull that up. So with just, you know, what I have encountered over the past several years, just living in this area again, seems like we're getting more wind than we used to. So I'm just trying to, like I said, you know, protect the building as much as I can without having to go back and redo anything in the event that we get a little bit stronger winds than we would normally. And yes, it is an extra expense, but I think, you know, doing it now, because it would be difficult to add a lot of this in later, doing it now and not costing that much. That's the reason that I buy these right here. You know, I think that it's important to go ahead and do what you need to do, because if you try to skimp on something somewhere, it's going to show up later on somewhere else. That's just been my experience with things. So yeah, this is what I got. I've already got some of these, but I bought another box of them. I got a can of black enamel paint. I got 4 more of these. These are shorter than, I've got a bunch of 10-inch, but I got a couple of 8-inch. I didn't have but the 5.5-inch ones, so I've got some right here that are going to go up towards the back to help secure this into my beam. So we'll take this stuff, we'll run it up to the sawmill, and we'll start preparing some of these plates for what I'm going to call my hurricane straps. If I do it this way, it does require a little bit of preparation, but like I said, these are a whole lot cheaper. I think the others are actually over $2, the one that they use for the straps. So what I'll do is, I got this in the vise, I'm just going to bend it over. Like that. I can use this side on the bottom or that side. I think what I'll do is I'll use this side right here to screw it down, and then this side to strap it going up. But what I'll do is I'll just paint the front side that you'll see, because these are going to be sitting against the boards, and that way I've only got, you know, like I said, one side to paint, and then if somebody happens to see it, it'll look more designer than it will just being a silver plate. Alright, what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to take this Rust-Oleum paint right here, and I'm just going to kind of like that right there. Take that up, put the screws in, and if anybody sees it, they won't see the different color back there. They'll see the black, and it'll look more designer than it does, like I said, just with the metal look. Well, now that you can see all of these are dry, I've got 28 of them. They're ready to go up there, and like I said, the best thing about these is they're cheap. They were less than $1, and the others are a little more than $2. So I find these work just as well, and the others actually are only about half as wide as these. They might be a little bit longer. I've even considered just using some strapping material, going up and over, and then putting screws in the bottom. It's just the fact that it wouldn't look as nice, so that's the only reason that I haven't used it. But you talk about being strong and a good hurricane strap, what I'm actually doing, like I explained before, is I'm locking the roof down to the walls because the top can't go anywhere. The way that I've got it rigged up, because of the splice that's in there, and so it would pull loose from the bottom before it pulled loose anywhere else. Well, you know, as soon as we get the roof done and can get the sawmill moved down here, this is the exact location that it's going to be. But it doesn't make any difference where that you put your sawmill unless you have good blades. And I just want to say again, I can't tell you how pleased I am with the blades that I get from Joe MAINE, and his information is down there in the description section below. It makes a big difference in cutting the timber that we're using here on the homestead. And trust me, I've cut a lot of timber because we've got 9 buildings standing up here, this being the biggest one, this workshop. But I've used some blades and I've cut some wood. I put some miles on the sawmill. So trust me, if you want some good blades, see Joe MAINE. Well, so what's next over here at the workshop? For certain, I've got to get down there, those trees that we fell in one of the recent videos, got to get down there, get all the limbs cut off of those, get the logs bucked up, get them moved and stacked up, and then I've got to start milling them, which milling is going to take some time because I've got to cut sheathing for the outside, got to cut some 2x4s. I've got a load of poplar logs down there that I'm going to be making floor joists out of. I've got, did I say the 2x4s for the walls? Got to finish the sheathing for the roof. Got to have some fascia board, but that's pretty much it. Oh, then some sheathing for the flooring. But those logs are pretty doggone big, so they're going to make a whole lot of sheathing. It's just, it's going to take a while to get that cut up. Then the only thing that we have left to do is we need to put the clear sealant on the exterior portion of the siding that's going on. But as far as the timber frame oil, I'll probably go back on a lot of the points that are lower to the ground, especially with whatever I've got left, and kind of go over that, and then we shouldn't have any problems. I'm certainly glad that this thing is kind of coming to a close, because this was a monster build, really. But I've got to get busy on, I've still got a root cellar to do, I've still got a back porch or a deck to do, with a ramp that's going to come down the side there. And then once we get the sawmill moved down here, is to tear out that old portion and build a nice gazebo up there, and then take a lot of the rocks that I have left over, or I don't know if it'll take them all, and build a nice fire pit there. That way in the evenings we can sit out there and enjoy maybe the fire like in the fall time. We can, sit on the front porch up there at the cabin. With that moved, we'll be able to look over the top of this building and see the scenery in behind. So yeah, it's really going to be nice. And those are, some of the projects that we've got coming up that we're planning on. And then we've got solar that we've been looking into very heavily, and then of course the rain catchment system that we're going to put in. I'm still carrying water, but it's not that big a deal. Jennifer helps out with the gallon jugs, and then I can have the 5-gallon jugs that I can fill those up with. But it's just something that you do living off grid. But it is time to go ahead and try to get some of that put in. I've just been busy building structures that I haven't considered that, I guess, a high priority, because I just, like I said, carry water, and I've got the generators and so forth, so I'm not hurting in any way. Well guys, I hope that you're enjoying this timber frame build down here, but moreover, the whole homestead idea and theme that we've got going on up here, because it certainly is a lot of fun, and I'm really going to enjoy being down here where I've kind of got all of my tools not only organized but at hand. So be sure and stay tuned for any of the shenanigans that we've got going on up here, because we certainly have quite a few of them. Anyway friends, thanks for stopping by. We really do appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you back up here at the cabin again next time.